I apologize I've been gone for such a long time. If you can't tell by my appearance, I've been going crazy. Wow! I thought that it would be good to dress up like Harley Quinn for my essay about Harley Quinn. And I just look like if a kindergarten teacher finally snapped.
What happened? He hit me first!
If you don't mind, I would rather skip past the bullshit excuse about how I'm depressed and just jump right into it. I'm gonna be talking about the Harley Quinn show, obviously from the title, but if you've been following me on Twitter, you know how much I love this show. I mean, it's perfect. Not only are Harley and Ivy my top 2 Batman characters, like, of all time, the amount of familiar voices from Seinfeld, Community, Veep, and many other sitcom titans playing the most absolutely egregious versions of classic DC heroes and villains, saying the most ridiculous shit you've ever heard is like Christmas morning to me.
I ate an orange and shit on a seed! Thanks, Ivy!
But this past season that released this summer, season 3, really stood out to me and really cemented the show as more than just edgy adult humor and fun, but as an incredible depiction of trauma and a celebration of empathy and, I'm sorry, Margot Sands, the best depiction of Harley Quinn to date. What makes Quoko's Quinn stand out from all the others, in my opinion, is that she isn't a symbol. Every time I've seen Harley on screen, she's a symbol for something, whether it be sex, rebellion, womanhood. This Harley Quinn exists in a TV show with multiple seasons, so obviously her character is going to be fleshed out more than a 2-hour movie. But I'm allowed to applaud it regardless. She is able to be anything and everything.
I'm Harley Quinn. I'm impetuous. I kiss people at random. Mwah!
What's happening?
A villain, a hero, a killer, a healer, a lover, a fighter, oftentimes all in the same day. She's able to be a multifaceted, flawed human being, kick-ass but pathetic at times, without the golden shackles of girl-bossery. Should I have kept that in? I'd be remiss if I didn't say Birds of Prey almost got this, but not to the depths that Harley Quinn dives into. The portrayal of Poison Ivy, too. I've only seen her on screen as a one-dimensional femme fatale sex goddess before, but the series takes you through her psyche and her chronic avoidance issues, as well as how shy she actually is, how reluctant she is to show herself to people in the first place, and how her forever high expectations of herself sometimes get in the way of not only her own plans, but her own health. I've never seen that before as someone who rarely dives into the comics because, frankly, comic books intimidate me.
Booga booga!
And I would have never known how much I personally relate to the iconic femme fatale supervillain Poison Ivy. Like, she's just like me for real. Even side characters are given some depth, if not through snarky little burns. Like Barbara Gordon's very reasonable desire to be a priority for her father, and Dick Grayson's desire to be validated by his adoptive one.
You know how depressed Selena breaking it off has made him?
Oh, please. He broke up with her.
Jesus, he's never gonna say that he loves you, dude.
Anyway, what I really want to talk about is what they've done with both Harley and Bruce, especially in this season. We are all familiar with the psychology of Bruce Wayne by now, sure. PTSD, abandonment issues, and a longing for a sense of complete control aren't news to any Batman fan. But Bruce is finally doing something that I've never seen him done on screen before. Not only getting proper psychiatric help, but admitting he needs it in the first place. I think this comes at a perfect time in our culture when we are very hyper aware of toxic masculinity and the damage it has done. And while we are encouraging men to make strides to undo that damage. And on screen, Bruce Wayne has always been a symbol for not only justice, vengeance, but suck it up and don't tell anyone-ism for a long time. I think this lines up perfectly after the release of The Batman in March, where Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson give us a visibly traumatized, vulnerable, and downright emo Dark Knight, where he's allowed to be a complete emotional wreck and a badass at the same time, similar to Harley. Speaking of, spoilers if you haven't seen, Harley is the one who he asked for help in the first place. In the best episode of the season, in my opinion, episode 8, Harley gets trapped in the mind of Bruce Wayne with his inner child. She scoops him up and wipes his tears and protects him from all of his traumatic memories. Within a whirlwind of emotionally therapeutic flashback scenes, she asks him if she could be his therapist, and he gives his consent, as long as she doesn't tell his secret, to which she replies,
doctor-patient confidentiality.
as she is one of the most fiercely loyal and protective characters that I can think of. Here's a scene of her trying to defend her superpowered girlfriend who towers over her from a superpowered giant with only a bat. She makes good on her promise, not even telling Ivy when she wakes up as a hostage along with her crew in Wayne Manor. She demonstrates this loyalty and determination to help even further with a surprisingly heartwarming scene where Bruce has a panic attack at the premiere of the movie about his father, all of the traumatic flashbacks understandably overwhelming him. She sits him down and uses grounding techniques I've even used myself in therapy, like a multitude of times over the past 10 years. And she's able to calm him down, and there's a new level of empathy and respect between the two of them. I've actually heard before that Batman's superpower is empathy. And in most portrayals, especially this one, I have to agree. But it's definitely Harley's too. What makes Batman a bad hero sometimes is caring for those he deems bad, like how he literally sacrifices his life for both Harley and Ivy at the end of season 1, both established supervillains and nuisances in their own right at this time. He could have gotten rid of Ivy, Harley, and the Joker in one fell swoop, but impulsively dove straight down into the explosion to save the lives of the latter two, becoming comatose in the process. What makes Harley a bad villain is how deeply she cares for people when she wants to. How helping people is the thing that makes her heart beat and runs through her veins. This is demonstrated especially in this season, when Barbara, Bruce, and the Bat family seem to get to her and
Don't worry, Nightwing. You still have the best looking ass out of all of us.
Let's give her a chance.
inspire her to take action as a positive force in Gotham, so much so that she sacrifices her very happy relationship with her own girlfriend to stop her evil plan. That very selfless drive to care for and help people is what drove her to become a psychiatrist in the first place, and it's what she seems to be coming back around to doing. I know we all love girl boss media and evil women doing evil things, but this, to me, is what makes Harley such a compelling character. She is, in her very soul, a very good person who does bad things and is not only incredibly aware of that fact, she's trying to atone for them. As we see in the last few minutes of the last episode, grappling off rooftops along with Barbara, Dick, and Damian to stop the crimes that she used to start on the streets of Gotham. It's such a cathartic way to end the season because, by choosing to go back to her old values, by choosing to heal others, she is also healing herself. Years of tumultuous, toxic relationships and outright domestic abuse isn't easy to swallow down and ignore. It is much easier to blame the cruel world for your trauma and not care what you do or say while you live in it because you are suffering, and the suffering is righteous, believe me, I know. But I think it's not only Bruce and Barbara who show her that she could be more, it's Ivy, her loving girlfriend who opposes every value she has about humanity, but still wants her to be more, to be her own person and think for herself outside of her relationship. I was so scared that Harley and Ivy were going to break up over this, especially after Ivy got the call from Lex Luthor to team up with him. They were really baiting it too, but the switch was so worth it at the end when you realize just how much Ivy loves Harley and how nothing could ever come between that. She is her priority. Never settle for anything less than the love you deserve, because even a relationship between a supervillain and an ex-supervillain aspiring superhero can be one of the most healthy, communicative, and incredibly loving relationships I've ever seen on screen. But Harley gush aside, I'm getting off track. To my previous point, it is not only Ivy and Barbara and Bruce who encourage her to change, it's herself. In that same episode, we go through Bruce's memories. We see current Harley quite literally fighting her old villainous self now as Robin, a universal symbol for good and short shorts.
I know I like to show off a little something, but come on, this is a thong.
Letting her know, even if she refuses to listen, that she is not her anymore. Harley reminds us that the only way out of our trauma is through. To face our demons head on, even when that demon is, and very oftentimes will be, yourself. That you are strong enough to not stand in your own way anymore, but to finally stand on your own. To think that I got all of this from a show with Veep and Curb alumni, where Harley confronts Bruce about her belief of his bat fucking in the first episode.
As sure as I am that he fucks bats,
Okay.
Joker is canonically a socialist. Robin is an unhinged brat. King Shark repeatedly reminds us of his 2 penises. Nightwing is in his Connor Roy era.
I am the eldest son.
I'm gonna die with the 8th Robin.
I'm the first!
Billy Bob Thornton plays Clayface playing himself. The infamous Court of Owls is just a huge orgy. Bane is a pathetic meow meow. Selina canonically sprays down Bruce's legs for bugs. And Tony Hale calls Wonder Woman the C word.
That really hurt, you
I'll never know. But I think everyone needs to watch it regardless. Especially those of us who have been through some shit.
But Bruce, you can't undo your trauma. You have to work through it. It's hard and it's scary, but it is the best thing you'll ever do.
I'm sorry, what?
I think we missed something big.